What's going on, guys? Welcome to the WrestleGasm YouTube channel, where today I am here with my very first TEW 9 series. That's right, I've made plenty of content on TEW 2020, one series of which you can still find here on the channel. But it's my first time making content on TEW 9. I've been playing it for ages, but I've never made content on it, so I'm very excited to get into this. As you can probably tell by the title, whatever the title may be for this video, this is going to be, I don't know officially what you would call the challenge, but it's a 0-0-0-0 challenge, which means it is you start your own custom promotion. You start off with 0 momentum, 0 prestige, $0, and 0 points of popularity anywhere in the world. So it's going to be a completely kind of from the ground up sort of thing. Now listen, I have played local to global dozens of times. It's my favorite thing to do in TEW, but I've never tried the 0 challenge. I'm just going to call it the 0 challenge because I don't want to say 0 4 times every time I say it. If there is an official name for it, do let me know. But it's something I'm really excited to do. There's essentially 2 ways I look at kind of playing it, and that is the only rules that I am forcing upon myself are the 4 zeros: the prestige, momentum, money, and popularity. Those are non-negotiable. I have to start with those. Other than that, I can really do whatever I want. So with that in mind, the 2 approaches I could take, one is I could think of it from a game perspective. I could think of what game mechanics would really work for me and try and kind of fixate on them until I can grow to a larger size. Or I can try and treat it as if this is a legitimate wrestling promotion that is trying to do this actual concept. And that's what I want to do. I want to book it like it's real, right? So the way I'm looking at it is like, if there's no popularity, no money, all that stuff, then this would probably be a like 3-match show that's being put on for free at like a street festival or something like that. You know, that's the way I'm envisioning it. As such, I'm going to make the ticket prices free until we get some popularity, and then I can start kind of charging people and like putting us in a legitimate venue. But that's the way I want to do it. I don't want to look at when I think of the game mechanics that could really benefit us, I think of things like I forget the name of it, but the type of alliance where any profit that the promotions and the alliance make, everyone shares that profit. Like, that's going to get us money real quick. That to me is not necessarily cheating, because it's not a cheat, it is part of the game, but it feels cheaty, you know? So I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to try and book this as genuinely as I possibly can, treat it as if it's just a street festival federation first, right? So this first episode is probably going to have 2, maybe 3 shows, events that I'm going to show you guys, because like I said, it's probably going to be like 3 matches per show, considering it would just be a kind of just anyone off the street can come and watch, so it's not a full-on event, but also because, you know, finances. So the shows are going to be really short, which is why I'm going to do more of them in each episode of this series. 2 or 3, we'll see how it goes. So let's get into it, shall we? So unknown booker, that's me, right? I've just created this guy. He's blank. He's got nothing. He's got no pop. He's got no skills. 50 is the default reputation. If you go below that, then you have negative rep. So that's why that's like that. But I also don't have booking skill, and that's something really important to take note of. Booking skill is kind of a mandatory stat in this game, to the point that if you click to play as someone who has bad booking skill, the game will say, "Are you sure you really want to do this?" Yes, I do. So that's essentially, it's 5 zeros now. Like, no money, no popularity, prestige, momentum, and no booking skill. So that's a challenge that I'm willing to take on. So yeah, that's who I'm playing as. Default, just blank guy. And we're playing as this promotion, Fusion Pro Wrestling. Shout out to the Reddit user BigVern82 for the logo. Yeah, Fusion Pro Wrestling. I initially want to make it a themed company, give it some sort of cool concept. But I was like, okay, if I'm trying to book this as if it's a genuine thing, would it really do that? No, this is going to be some small town indie fed. So Fusion Pro Wrestling, it's kind of generic. I know there's a couple indie promotions who already use this name because I did some research after I selected the name. Yeah, it just feels like indie, you know? So that's what we're doing. We have no popularity anywhere. We have, as you can see, zero money. Yeah, we're going into this completely, there's the prestige and momentum, completely at ground zero, and we're going to build our way up. So there's a couple things I want to do off rip. The first thing, I'm going to show you guys the product just so you guys can get an understanding of it. I went with Silver Age Pro Wrestling. Usually I would like to do something more like respectful wrestling as the product, but Silver Age Pro Wrestling is something that appeals to sponsors, and we're going to need money, so sponsorship is something we need to heavily prioritize. And even then, sponsorship isn't going to matter until we get some popularity, right? So this you could look at as being something sort of like that alliance thing, but I think this is a much more fair avenue to take. So Silver Age Pro Wrestling, we're doing intergender wrestling just because, you know, with the sort of talent pool we're going to be able to pick from, beggars can't be choosers. So I can't really do defined men's and women's divisions. Also, I just like intergender wrestling. I think it should become a more commonly accepted thing in the wrestling world. But, you know, it's slowly getting there. I don't know if it ever will get there, but, you know, that's my stance. I feel like it should be a thing. So intergender wrestling, for the same logic, I'm doing no faces and heels because, again, if we do faces and heels, then we're splitting the roster, meaning the kind of match combinations we can do are like there's not as much we can do. So that's why we're not doing faces and heels. The other reason is because we can't really do storylines, right? Because if we're just running like street shows for however many months, you're not really going to get like a consistent audience, so you can't tell a storyline. Now that's one thing I want to kind of clear up as early as I can. I know one of the most appealing things about watching a TEW YouTube series, at least for me, is to be able to follow the storylines and kind of see how it progresses the whole way through. We're not going to be able to run storylines for a little while. So hopefully you guys can stick with me and see the progress of this company. And then once we get to a position where, you know, we've got a decent roster, we can start running venues, all this kind of stuff, storylines are 100% going to come into play. But for now, it's just going to straight up be matches, which might be boring for some people. I do apologize. But that's kind of how we're running this. So that's our product. What else do we want to take a look at? Actually, you know, I'll really quickly have a look at the hidden gems. I'm curious to see who it's going to give us. Allison Kay, I would love to sign Allison Kay, but I would assume she's fairly expensive. 100, yeah, no, that's way too much. Mike Verner, Adrian Tavir, aka Giovanni Vici. Was it Vici or Vinci? I don't even remember. The Bunny and Ashley Vox. Not a bad list, but I can't imagine any of these guys would be cheap enough for me. One thing I forgot to mention, by the way, we're running the Mid-South. The reason I chose the Mid-South is because it has a high potential for growth. I think it was like 90%, but there's no promotions there. There's not a single other promotion, so we don't have to worry about rivaling anyone in terms of production levels and things like that. So that's why we're running Mid-South. All right, events. We're going to go ahead and add the event. It's going to be a very simple thing. We're just going to do Fusion Pro Wrestling Live. It's going to be numbered, starting with 1, and 1 hour is the minimum we can go. Again, that'll bump up once we start making progress. It's going to be every month. We're going to do the last Saturday of the month. The reason I like to do it at the end is because once we start earning sponsorship, which obviously we won't in this first month because we have zero popularity, once we start, the money can build up throughout the month, you know, so that's kind of the goal. And then, so we're going to run the 31st, save, there we go, Fusion Pro Wrestling Live 1 in 30 days. Oh, we do actually need to have a story. Oh, okay, that's not ideal. Shoot, okay, I guess we need a storyline then. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can turn off storyline requirements in the preference settings, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to take that as a thing of It's the sacrifice I need to make in order to get the product that gives sponsorship. So I guess we're going to try and run a storyline from the get-go. We'll see how it goes. It says it needs to be hot. What's the rating? Okay, it's not telling me what makes a hot storyline. Is it like a rating thing? I don't know. Anyways, that's beside the point. The other thing I want to do is ticket prices, events free. Until we can get some popularity, even just a couple points of popularity, I'm just making tickets completely free. So, yeah, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign a roster, and then I'm going to simulate up until the first show, and then I'll bring you guys back in. Now, something I like to do sometimes with local to global, but I'm especially going to do here because it would be very beneficial, is I only sign a couple people to my roster. I don't sign a full roster. I just sign, honestly, I'm going to do like 3 or 4 people. And then their opponents are going to be local workers. The reason I like to do that is because I want to have a core couple people to build my show around, and then I can use the local worker system to see who puts on good performances, and then I can bring them in that way. This way, we're not having people that are relying on us to be booked. It's just, does that make any sense? I hope it does. We have our core couple of people and then local workers, which, to that idea, that's not to say local workers are going to be jobbers. Like, they could be, we could have a local worker be in the main event at our level, like we really could. So anyways, I'm yapping too much. I'm gonna go ahead and get a roster, simulate to the first show, and I will see you guys there. Alright, welcome back. It is time for the first edition of Fusion Pro Wrestling Live. Before we get into the show, a couple things to take note of. As you can see, our money has decreased since we started. I haven't actually bought anything. That's just like monthly production costs. We're not going to make any passive income with sponsorships until we get at least 1 popularity point. So I don't think we're going to get that from the first show. Hopefully the second. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're about to jump into it, but I'll just mention a couple things. We've got no announcers or commentators because we don't need them at this level and they cost money. So I'm not doing that. The roster we're going to take a quick look at. So Vinny Massaro, I'm bring him in as my road agent. I tried to do a bit of research on everyone because I do know some of these roster owners to some extent. Some of them I don't know at all. But I did research on everyone, even the ones that I do know, just to get a decent understanding of kind of people's perceptions of them and how I should be booking them and things like that. Vinny Massaro, it seems like people don't really like him. And the only reason I can really tell is he might be getting opportunities that people don't think he deserves based on his in-ring ability. We might have him wrestle for us in some capacity, but he's just our road agent. I don't plan on, even if we book him in matches, I don't plan on doing anything crazy with him unless he randomly has like insane performance ratings. But for now, he's just our road agent. He is also on our booking team, and he's only got like, actually, what does he have? He has 23 booking skill, which isn't a lot, but it saved our ass because we need to have a minimum of 20 creative points to run a 1-hour show, and he generated exactly 20. And obviously I generated 0 because I'm coming to this with 0 booking skill. So he kind of saved our ass there. Other than that, we've got Justin Borden as our referee. We're paying $40 for him. Everyone else is $20. Literally every single other person on our roster, no matter what role, is $20 per show. Justin Borden is $40. That is the cheapest I could get for a ref. I will take it. Now, in terms of our in-ring roster, we have Exodus Prime and Rachel Rose. They are on a one-night local deal. Rachel Rose I recognize from DPW. I saw her in the local worker list, and I was like, you know what? I remember her, so I'm going to give her a shot, see if she performs well, and go from there. Exodus Prime is not someone I'm familiar with, but when I did my research, I saw he's a former tag team champion with someone who is on our roster with Stephen Wolf. So I'm going to run some Exodus Prime matches, see how he does, and if he performs well, then he can join our roster as well. In fact, personal details, okay, yes, they're listed here as well. Superiority complex. So Once I start booking tag team matches, which will be when I get more money so I can put more people on the show, then I might have superiority complex as a tag team. In terms of my official roster, we've got Alpha Zoe, we've got Sonico, Stephen Wolf, and Zeta Zhang. So we got 4 roster members, 2 local workers. It's going to be 3 singles matches, which again, as I said earlier, that's just kind of the style we're running. We're doing free street shows, basically. Yeah, I did end up starting a storyline, but it's like the vaguest of storylines. I'll show you when we get into the show. So let's jump into it. All right, so we got 78 people, which is pretty good, but again, it's free tickets, so of course it's going to be not horrible. The West Coast Pro Heavyweight Champion Vinny Massaro opens the show. He says that he was asked by the founder of FPW to come on board and help launch a promotion out of nothing. This company is bare bones at the moment, but on behalf of the FPW team, Vinny promises that there is a future for this place, and for everyone competing tonight and on future shows, it is up to you to prove your worth. Because you may look down on this fed right now, but those who stick with us and help us build this place from the ground up will be rewarded for their efforts. Tonight is the first night of something special. Tonight is the start of Fusion Pro Wrestling. So this is the whole storyline. Genuinely, this is it. The storyline is Fusion is the future. I will try and find ways to advance that in future events, but this is it. Like I said before, I don't want to run storylines while we're this small, but the product requires it, and I think it's fair to adhere to that because, you know, that's what the game is providing us because we want the sponsorship. So that's all the storyline is. 24 segment rating, poor gimmick. I'm not too worried about gimmicks right now. But a 24 rating, I don't know if that's good or not. We're going to have to get through the rest of the show and see if that's average or not. Dirt sheet, good road agent work, high morale, cool. First match. And about the had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Sonico defeated Exodus Prime in 10-16 by pinfall with an EMF. Great wrestling, decent reaction. I did not expect to get a wrestling rating in the 40s on our first show. That, or just in the green in general, I mean. That's really good. Really, really good. A 46 from Sonico is insane. When I was getting my roster members, I was trying to pick the people who were, it said like estimated $30 per show so that I could take them down to 20. But then out of those people, take the people who had good skills. Sonico had great skills, and that is very much reflected here. A 46 is awesome. 35 is also really good, so I definitely might bring Exodus Prime into the main roster. Great gimmick for Sonico, adequate for our referee, Justin Borden. Yeah, match was too short. We're going to get that all the time at our current level, but that's to be dealt with. Oh yes, I did do an inspirational speech to start the show. High morale, road agent work, too short. Okay. That's an amazing way to start the show. And about that, good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Rachel Rose defeated Zeta Zhang in 11:04 by pinfall. I did not mean to book Rachel as the winner. Either I accidentally clicked Rachel or I didn't click anyone and it's just given it to Rachel. I meant to give the win to Zeta Zhang, and that's purely because Rachel Rose isn't on the roster. Right? Not to say that I won't. I said earlier I would give wins to local workers, but this is not a situation where I was planning on doing that. But I'm not too upset by it. It's not the end of the world. 41 by Zeta Zhang is awesome. 32 by Rachel is really good. 37 wrestling rating. A whole bunch of notes there. Rachel Rose, poor psychology. Okay, alright. Well, yeah, I'm happy with that. Main event time. In about that, great wrestling but didn't have much heat. Stephen Wolf defeated Alpha Zoe in 14-18 by pinfall with a treaty breaker. 38, again, great main event. The opener being the best match was not something I expected, but I am here for it. In about that, had great wrestling but didn't have much heat. Stephen Wolf defeated Alpha Zoe in 14-18 by pinfall with a treaty breaker. Gets a 38 wrestling rating. So the opener being the best match was not what I expected. I thought this would top it, but that's kind of what these early shows are for. It's about us experimenting with our roster and seeing who works best. A 35 from Alpha Zoe, a 41 from Stephen Wolf. Now, the thing is, with this roster, I don't know. I don't know everyone very well. Alpha Zoe is not someone that I know very well, but he appeals to me. I watched some clips heading into this, and he was someone I was really interested in booking. Stephen Wolf is someone I'm familiar with, not to an insane extent, but I am familiar with Stephen Wolf decently well. And so because of that, I wanted Stephen Wolf to be kind of a main guy for me, and he will be. But out of the 4 main roster members, Sonico, Zeta Zang, and Alpha Zoe were all major stars, listed as major stars, whereas Stephen Wolf was just a star. So I was like, okay, maybe these guys are just bigger names than Stephen Wolf, I don't know, but I want Stephen Wolf to be on that level. So if he can just get a win over Alpha Zoe, the level we're at right now, just one victory could put him in the major star category. So that's my kind of goal here. But yeah, no, 38 wrestling rating, very good main event. Not the best match on the card, obviously, but still a very good main event. I have also just noticed I did make a backdrop, but I forgot to assign it, so I will do that after this. Dirt sheet, morale, road agent. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. So let's go ahead and finish the show. FPW don't have enough storylines rated hot or above going on. Okay, so we need to put some more emphasis into that. That's gonna suck. Okay, all right, well, we increased popularity. That's what we want. That's our main goal, right? So we increased our pop, 31 show rating. Let's finish the show. Address the locker room. I kind of want to... The 2 people who stood out most to me was Sonico and Zeta Zang, and I think I'm going to compliment on a good performance. I could just do praise for a great performance, but that would be... Actually, you know what? I feel like on this level, yeah. Because my expectations were significantly less than what we got. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to praise them for a great performance. Seemed pleased. Financial report, we're at negative 786. Okay. Didn't get any points there. I didn't expect to. I think after our next show, we might get up to 1. But, you know, it's progress. It's about experimenting. Yeah, I'm hopeful that one more show will get us to 1 popularity point, and then once we get that single popularity point, we start making sponsorship money. So, all right, I'll see you guys at the next show. All right, so we are back with Fusion Pro Wrestling Live 2. We are in late February. We have 88 people, bit of an increase in attendance. We opened the show with, and by the way, this is me fully diving into the fact that I need to go for storylines. It's a priority, so we're going for it. I don't think it would really suit our current concept, I guess, but it's got to be done. So Stephen Wolf opens the show and mentions Vinny Massaro's comments from the previous event about Fusion Pro Wrestling being built from the ground up. Stephen doesn't shy away from the fact that this isn't exactly the dream company to work for, but he vows to help it become that. He wants to help bring FPW to the prominence that he sees in its future, and he wants to do that one step at a time. That next step is to issue a challenge. Sonico had an immensely impressive victory in FPW's first show, and as the winner of the first show's main event, Wolf thinks it's only fair that they get the chance to go head-to-head tonight. In a few years' time, when FPW is on a larger scale and he and Sonico are still carrying this place on their backs, everyone in attendance tonight will be able to say that they were here to witness history in the making. So tonight, it'll be Stephen Wolf versus Sonico. It's the first ever winner in FPW history versus the first ever main event winner in FPW history. And this is my way of advancing the storyline, because it's still Fusion is the future. That's still the concept here. Zeta Zhang is someone who absolutely should be put in this bracket as well, of people who are going to carry the company from the beginning. You could maybe argue Alpha Zoe, but there's a bit of a gap between him and the other 3. However, Zeta Zhang, because I mistakenly booked Zeta Zhang to lose in the first show, she needs to gain a bit of momentum, and then she can come back and be like, no, I'm part of this scene as well. So there we go. So that's the opening scene. In a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Alpha Zoe defeated Ryan Davidson in 9:50 by submission. 41, that is the best match we've had yet. I know that's not saying a lot, we've only had 3, but I didn't expect this. Ryan Davidson pulling out a 44. I was talking how in the first show I was doing research on everyone. I didn't do research for this event because I've been busy waiting for the load time between the two shows, the simulation time. I've been doing other stuff. But I did read a little bit about Ryan Davidson in his like bio in the game. But a 44 is awesome. That is definitely sign worthy. So if I can figure out kind of what I want to do with him, then consider Ryan Davidson signed. 39 from AlphaZo is really good as well. Yeah, good stuff. I don't know exactly how to go about the crowd rating. One thing I forgot to mention actually, we got a note before the show saying that the ring had been delivered to the wrong place. So we got a backup ring, but the ring is lesser quality. So we're gonna have a bit of a quality decrease because of the lesser ring. I think that goes down to production values maybe, but yeah, that's something to take note of as well. And about that, good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Zeta Zhang defeated Ronnie Nicole in 9:19 by submission with a sleeper hold. 45 from Zeta Zhang is awesome. 26 from Ronnie Nicole. Not really sign worthy, but a decent like come in and job out performance, you know. Yeah, this is me just trying to get Zeta some momentum because I screwed up on the first show. So that's all this is. Main event time, and about that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Sonico defeated Stephen Wolf in 16:02 by pinfall with an EMF. Again, 2 shows in a row where I had the wrong main event. Not wrong as in I did a mistake booking, but like I thought Stephen Wolf versus AlphaZo should have been the main event on the first one, and I thought Stephen Wolf versus Sonico should have been the main event on this one, but apparently not. So yeah, you know, the bat dragged in the middle. I don't know specifically how to go about that note, but that's worth keeping in mind. The match was a little too short for an important match. I feel like it's got to be 20 minutes in order to not get that note. Roll, gimmick, blah, blah, blah. Stamina. Limited psychology involved for the length. Okay, alright, well, overall still a good match. I'm not going to complain about that. So we increased our pop in one region. Still aren't meeting the storyline standard. Okay, I don't know how to go about that. More storyline problems. And there's the equipment problem. Okay, well, let's finish the show. Address the locker room. Zeta Zhang, I've got to... Wait, did I do praise? I thought I did compliment last time. Am I... No, I did bump it up, didn't I? Zeta Zhang. Sonico didn't do as well this time, so do I want to... You know what? I'm gonna keep it going. Actually, let me... Yeah, I'm just gonna do a repeat. Because if you do it consistently, if you do the same thing consistently, you'll get increased effects from it, which is what I want. But I also don't want to do that as like a kind of game mechanic thing. I want, as long as it's deserved, and I feel like it is deserved here. Financial report, we're down to negative 1447, but if we go popularity recap, we're now at 1. Okay, so this means we're going to start earning sponsorship money, which is our income. So we're going to start making money. It's going to take us a while to get out of debt, but this is how we, again, make money. All right, I'm going to do one more show on this recording, and because I want to see what the income is like over the next month, so I might as well just do another show anyways. So yeah, I will see you guys then. Right, so we are back with Fusion Pro Wrestling Live 3. This is the final event of the episode. We are in late March. We have 92 people. Again, an increase. You'll love to see it. We kick things off with Zeta Zhang opens the show mad at Stephen Wolf's comments from the previous event. He spoke at length about how him and Sonico being the pillars of the company who will bring it to prominence. Zeta says that she will own the loss that she suffered on the first show, but for Wolf to overlook her for that and to not consider her at the forefront of the company is just ridiculous. Tonight, she plans on kicking some sense into him and proving that Fusion Pro Wrestling is her battleground, not his. Again, we have to do a storyline. This is it. Zeta is staking her claim. We know she's... The way I see it, we have a trinity going on. It's Zeta, Wolf, Sonico. they're the current people that I'm trying to build the company around. So this is Zeta kind of putting herself in that situation. And About That had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Alpha Zo defeated Sonico in 12:22 by pinfall. Now you might be questioning why Alpha Zo got the win when Sonico has been such a strong performer for us. It really comes down to the fact that Sonico had very warm momentum and Alpha Zo still needed some momentum. So that's really all it is. But a 46 from Sonico is awesome. A 40 rated match again. Is this going to be another situation where the opener beats the main event? Maybe. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Now this one is 2 local workers. I just want to kind of put them in the ring, see how they perform, and maybe sign them. But based on this, I don't think I will. In a decent match, Alejandra Quintanilla defeated Kia Dream in 8:52 by pinfall with a Lion's Prey. Is that Quintanilla or Quintanilla? Because I think 2 L's is Y, right? Anyways, that's beside the point. 25 from Alejandra, 23 from Kia Dream. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be signing either of them, at least not at the moment. Here we go. About That had superb wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Zeta Zhang defeated Stephen Wolf in 14:32 by submission with a sleeper hold. So Zeta gets the win because she still needed momentum. She did get a win last month, but she needed momentum, and I thought getting momentum in a main event match against a major star would be the way to do it, and it definitely seems like it worked. A 45 wrestling rating, you love to see it. Yeah, that I think is the best match we've had yet out of any of the shows. So I can't really complain about that. The storyline heading into the show still had 0 heat, so I'm hoping this changes it. So Dirt Sheet, okay, nothing crazy going on there. But yeah, I think the reason it had 0 is because I wasn't, the angles that I was setting as advanced storyline weren't set to be storyline development angles, if that makes any sense. And then the match that I had be storyline related in the last show, I didn't set the wrestlers to the storyline, I just set the match to be advanced storyline. This time I've changed that, so hopefully it fixes itself. But let's have a look. So finish show. Okay, we don't have the storyline note there, so we did good. We succeeded in that department. Yeah, can't complain about that. 43 main event. 17 might be the worst match we've had, but in our current state, that doesn't matter. That's perfectly fine. Finish the show, we're going to address the locker room. I think I kind of need to... I want to go with Sonico again, so we can continue getting those bonuses, but I kind of need to give it to Stephen Wolf this time. And then Zeta Zhang, of course. Make speech, seemed pleased, was pleased with your speech. Financial report, we're now down to $2,000. That's okay. We're going to slowly start to make money. I just don't know how much and how quickly. Popularity recap, we're now at 2 points in the Mid-South. So, all right, we're going to head back to the main screen. Because that's the last show we're doing on this episode, I'm going to take you guys back to the main screen so we can kind of check out where we're at with money, popularity, all that kind of stuff. So I'll see you guys there in a second. The feedback has been very positive. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. Let's go to the office. So we're now at negative 2019 bucks. Not great, obviously, but it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. I want to have a look at the storylines. So we now have extremely hot heat on the storyline. Okay, cool, awesome, love that. Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot to look at after that. Very happy with that show. We have enough to kind of know where we want to take things. We know how we want to build the company in this first year at least. So that's what I was hoping for. Other than that, I think that's it for this episode. I want to hear from you guys though. I want to hear anything that you guys think should happen this season. Firstly, I love challenges. So if you guys have any objectives, goals, challenges, whatever it may be, I am open to hearing them. I absolutely want to give it my best shot. Secondly, out of anyone that we've given a one-night local worker deal on this episode, if you think I should sign any of them, let me know. I definitely want to try and sign Exodus Prime because he had a great performance, and also we have that kind of inlet of like, we kind of know a way to book him since he is in the tag team with Stephen Wolf. Ryan Davidson is someone who put on an awesome performance. I just need to do my research, but yeah, Anyone that you guys want me to sign from the local deals, anyone you want me to sign in general, I am down for any of it. I will also add, by the way, I had a look at the hidden gems before the last event, and there's a certain someone that showed up, Anna J, no longer AEW apparently, hella expensive, 500 per show, so it's not happening anytime soon. But I just, because that popped up, I thought that might be a cool little update to show you guys as part of the game world. But yeah, that essentially does it. I will also add, by the way, before anyone asks, in terms of introducing a championship, and I should have said this earlier in the episode, but I didn't think to. In terms of introducing a championship, I'm going to wait till we're stable, till we have good shows and a good roster. But also, I like to run at least a few shows before ever introducing a championship, because it means we can test the waters with our talent, see who performs the best, and from that determine who should be the champion. So it's going to be, at this current rate, maybe like an in-game year before we get to a championship, but we'll see how it goes. We will see. So yeah, that does it. Just as a reminder, we gained 2 popularity points. We also got a little bit in Midwest, Southeast, and Southwest, so definitely progress being made. You'll love to see it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys are excited for this series as I am. I'm really keen to get stuck in. I'm going to try and make this at least a weekly series, maybe sometimes 2 episodes a week, depending on how available I am, but I want to try and aim for at least once a week, because anything less than that, I feel like I'm just kind of, letting it die at that point. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I do appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.